Hey BOBC family, Tiffany Wright, founder of Black Owned in Berkeley County. Black Owned in Berkeley County is a business support network in the Panhandle that supports Black and minority-led businesses.
Hey y'all, it's Lizzie Liz. Okay, wait. Didn't I just say in the last two podcasts I was not going to do the whole Lizzie Liz thing?
Yes.
I declared I was going to grow up and be a little more mature. So, everyone, it's Elizabeth Ann. I am the owner of The Dandiest Life and the founder of Different is Dandy, which is a community action initiative. And I am so excited to be here with you all. And let me also mention that I am an advisor on BOBC, amongst all the other things that I do. Now, this is incredible to sit here with you all. Tiffany, as always, I love you.
I love you
But
too.
we have special guests as always. We have special guests with us today.
Yes.
We do.
So we have Kelly Eflin, financial advisor from First United Bank, and Rachel Lancaster, president of the JULEPs.
So we have to break down what the JULEPs are before we get into our icebreaker. Okay? And this is the junior league of the Eastern Panhandle. Did I miss anything?
You got it.
Junior League of the Eastern Panhandle. I am really excited that you all are here with us, and I would love to dive into the history because I know your history spans more than 100 years because it was founded in 1901. So before we get into the Junior League of the Eastern Panhandle and how vast and expansive and rich the history is, we do have an icebreaker, right?
Absolutely.
Okay,
so let me set the tone and the vibe. We are going to have a dinner party.
Oh.
Okay, dinner party.
Dinner party.
I'm down for dinner.
Down for a dinner party, right? Rooftop evening, menage event.
Okay.
Oh, she's
Provided
all
the
out
decor.
for this.
Yes,
She
she's
is.
provided the decor.
Yeah.
Okay, we're walking into Candace from Graceful. We have our charcuterie boards for our appetizers.
Okay.
Pinkies out.
Okay.
Pinkies out. Okay. Madar from Madar Beer and Wine has sent over some wine for us.
Very nice.
Very nice. And we have catering from OG Kitchen, the original G in the kitchen.
Yes, that's my girl.
Or Bayou Nola. Okay?
Ooh, beignet me, please.
Yes. Okay.
Hi.
Beignet and desserts from Luna Cereal Bar. So we are sitting down, enjoying one another. We are all welcome to bring one guest. One guest, one woman that has impacted your life. Dead or alive, who would it be and why? And I'm going to start with you, Rachel.
Oh, let's start first. I like it. Oh, wow, that's such a good question. I'm gonna go probably a little cliche with my answer.
Okay.
So it's been about 9 years since I lost my mom. But I'm gonna bring her to the table, but not just because it's my mama. I think when you're talking about someone who's been so inspiring in my life as a female, I attribute everything I am today as a strong female to her. So would love to sit at that table and then also have that conversation as a working mom myself to say thank you. I get it now. Like I appreciate it and I understand it and all that. So that would be my answer.
Your answer. Okay, Liz.
I mean, how do we just bring one person?
I know.
Right.
We could do quarterly later, but just for
Quarterly.
this one, yes.
I mean, my mom.
Mom, okay.
It's definitely my mom because I told her she was my best friend and then she told me to get friends. And I think anyone who is bold, brave, beautiful, brilliant, and tenacious enough with the tender audacity to tell you their first child to go get some friends because I can and will never be your only best friend is someone you must sit and break bread with.
Yes.
Absolutely. Okay.
Absolutely.
And can learn a lot from, you know?
Okay.
So, yeah.
Kelly?
So You're making me feel bad for not saying my mom.
Oh,
because
No.
Because, yes,
you're
my
off
mom-
the board, sorry.
my mom is always welcome at the table, as are my wonderful grandmothers, and a lot of women. So it's hard to choose, but I think I'm going to go with Brene Brown on this one.
Okay.
Love me some Brene Brown.
Mm-hmm.
And she's a wonderful professor, teacher, author, podcaster, storyteller. And so she's been pretty life-changing for me and a great influencer for me, as she has for a lot of people. But so I'll never forget the first time I heard one of her podcasts, and that was just a powerful, influential moment for me, because I can tell you I've dealt with being a woman in a male-dominated industry. I've dealt with a lot in the workplace. I've dealt with sexism and bullying from men, not where I'm currently at, which I love where I'm at now because it's such a supportive environment, but I have in my past. And just even without that, you know, we deal with imposter syndrome as women, right?
Absolutely.
And we deal with lack of confidence, and we deal with mom guilt. And
Absolutely.
and so I remember just whenever I listened to her first podcast, it was like a huge weight was lifted at the end, because I realized I wasn't alone in going through and experiencing all these things, but also, you know, it taught me a lot about setting boundaries and building empathy and all the wonderful things that she teaches. So that just, you know, I ended with that built my confidence. I would say that really got me setting healthy boundaries and knowing that it is okay to say no. You don't have to say yes all the time and try to prove yourself as a woman. I think women feel like they have to a lot. And so I started, you know, being more purposeful in when I said yes, and started saying yes to things that would usually make me uncomfortable.
Wonderful.
So thank you, Brene Brown.
Hey.
So my guess will be my grandmother. And I chose my grandmother, Ruby Lee White, because my grandmother was born in 1919, in Georgia during Jim Crow South. She had a 4th grade education, but at the time of her death, she was a businesswoman, owned several properties, joined several civic leadership, you know, communities, and she did a lot in our community back home in Asbury Park, New Jersey. And I've always wondered, as I got older, because we don't always appreciate our moms and grandmothers in the time, but now as a woman and a grandmother myself, and just reflecting a little bit on her life, I realized that had she had the same opportunities that women had today, my grandmother would have been a millionaire, because she was so gifted with numbers. And she was very relatable to people, all people. Men, women, rich, poor. I mean, she did domestic work. I mean, just to think that my grandmother did domestic work and at the time of her death owned several properties with a 4th grade education. You know what I mean? And I would love to have that conversation with her present day, you know, at a dinner party, and showing her the technology that we have today, and just, you know, hearing her stance on stocks, or, you know, just anything financial, you know what I mean? So that's who I would bring to our dinner party. And we've all stated a woman that has impacted our lives, so I wanted to say thank you. Thank you.
Awesome. That's like,
I know
Make
we
me
all went a
emotional.
little deep there.
I know,
didn't we?
right?
Nice, right, girl. I'm on that.
I know, both of y'all said mothers, I said grandmother, you said
yeah.
Brene Brown. It's just like, but it's true though, and it just goes to show how having women in professional and personal settings, having organic relationships, how much of a great impact it can have, you know what I mean, on your development and whatever you're doing. So it is needed ladies that's being together. I just want to encourage to always support and work with one another.
Yeah, you really did highlight a really important part. The one was the seeing, women doing, so that someone can be inspired that they can too be.
Absolutely.
Right? And simultaneously, you were able to learn. You want to have that continued conversation so that we can, and you too, right? There's this constant, this constant growth and development that we all want to. There's so much strife happening in the world, and a lot of it is like women against women, men pitted against men. But who is actually doing that at the end of the day? When we all have something valuable and uniquely special about each one of us, because I can't do what you can do the way that you can do it. And we all just enrich one another's lives. And so I think it's important that the generations of, that are before us and those behind us, we all teach and love one another so we can continue to grow.
Absolutely.
I'm here for it.
Yes, I'm here for it too.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, the next thing we have to do is discuss these drinks because y'all got pretty colors going on here.
Yeah.
In these beautiful glasses.
Yes. I have my JULEP's wine glass. Thank you, Rachel and Kelly. Thank you so much.
Excuse me.
Yeah.
My glass is shaped like yours, but this isn't for me.
We're gonna make you an honor. Is it okay if she's the honorary
Yes.
JULEP for today?
Okay, today I'm an honorary JULEP socially.
Yeah.
But in the future, we're gonna have to make some arrangements because
Yeah.
these are gorgeous.
Yes, they are. I was excited.
Yeah.
I bet you were. Thanks for letting me borrow your beautiful wine glass. But I do also notice something different.
Yeah, because we're
Drastically.
drinking white Zinfandel over here.
White Zinfandel?
White Zinfandel.
Okay, that's really nice. I'm not drinking white Zinfandel today. At all.
What are you drinking? What journey are we on today, Liz?
Okay, since you always must ask me about my journey, Tiffany, thank you. I appreciate it, guys. We're clear over here. And let's also be clear, I do appreciate wine because the Lord did turn water into wine.
That's right.
However, today we're turning water into nothing. We're propelling forward. We're propelling forward into the next season of our lives, okay?
That's right.
And this week, I am praying for a Propel sponsorship.
That's right.
You hear that, Propel?
You hear that, Propel? Every week, I am coming to you with a different form of water that sits in my soul. Wonderfully well and hydrates me from the inner to the outs and keeps the skin popping. So, Propel, do you hear me? My skin is popping and glowing, and I am filled with the Electra to the lights because I radiate the light of the Lord. And I need you all to understand that this water was meant for me to help me propel into that next season because March 9th, I'm turning 30 to the 30.
Oh.
All right, we're propelling forward
birthday,
into the
yes.
next season, and
Yes.
spring is upon us.
Okay.
Okay, so yes, that's where we're at today. We're still on our
Healing journey.
healing journey.
You
Healing
started to
journey.
drink Propel, you were very radiant. Now I was wondering what it was. Now I know.
There you go.
Yes. Today is propel.
Absolutely.
We'll see this next week.
Okay.
Sorry, guys.
No, we love it, Liz.
Okay,
We
thank
love
you.
it.
I try to be funny.
Yes, we love it.
Thank you.
Liz, can you teach our audience about the JULEPs?
Okay, so first of all, I think JULEPs is very cute.
Yeah.
It makes me think I am frolicking through a pasture filled with wildflowers. Just when I think of JULEPs, right? And then, right, little fancy, right? But then when we break JULEPs down and understand that it's the junior league of the Eastern Panhandle, and when we go into understanding what you're all about, one key word that really stood out to me, well, one or two, three, four, many words, okay? Because I love words. If we know Liz, we know Liz loves words and language, literature, because I'm lit, okay? Sorry, guys. I think I'm funny. Okay. Purely. But civic service, duty, unity, coming together, making a difference. These are words that I saw stand out when I did research on you all. And I think it's absolutely fantastic wanting to help the community propel forward. Propel
Hell.
forward.
Yes.
Right?
You're gonna bring us onto your next commercial too, right?
Absolutely.
Propel.
Absolutely. And so I would just, and the fact that the history is so rich, so long standing, because a lot of organizations can't do that. I myself am in an organization that has a vast civic service, years and years and years long. I just think it's fantastic. And I also love that, if I'm correct, you all are women held down, right? Like it's women. It's about women, for women.
Yes.
Like it's all women.
It is. For women, by women.
For women, by women, and it's Women's History Month. Like, do the thing.
Yes.
Do the thing. Okay, which leads me into my question. And as you answer my question, please throw more information about your organization in there, right? Because I just loved those key words, because I think they're so relevant to who we raise those, our children, especially those who identify as girls growing into women, to be, right? Civic-minded, strong, capable, intelligent, beautiful, right? Wanting to pour in and like community-minded focus, right? Okay, so my question, to be a woman. To be a woman, I am woman, hear me roar. Yet making it civic-minded, duty-oriented. What does that mean to you? That's my question, my first question of the podcast situation.
Absolutely.
Right.
Okay.
So you looking at me.
So
I'm gonna
you,
take
yes,
that.
you saw the eyes.
I
got
did.
the
I saw
eyes.
the eye. Got it. No, I think it means so much to me. Like you said, that I am woman, hear me roar. I mean, that's like my motto, you know. I think it touches on a lot of the things we've already talked about. It's that responsibility of the women that came before us and the women that are to be after us. To make an impact in our community, to stand up for the other women, you know, coming into the future, and continue to blaze that pathway forward for all of us. You know, it's only been 100 years now, since we've been able to vote, and look where we are now, and what the potential is, you know, to go forward. We've come a long way, but there's a long way to go. So just something I've always been passionate about. And I know Kelly touched a little bit on, you know, being a female in a male-dominated industry. I've spent most of my career like that. So that's why I think it's just so important to pour in things like Junior League, where you can be passionate about uplifting and developing and encouraging and empowering other women to do the same beside you. So.
Yeah, so that's a really great question. So it's interesting because the founder, so this chapter of the Junior League, at least in this area, because I think we were talking earlier about how there's almost 300 chapters throughout the world. It is an international organization. And for the Eastern Panhandle, we've been around since beginning of 2020, right before COVID started.
Wow.
So that threw us off. Yeah, it was a great time. But the thought and the work in developing and originating it started more beginning of 2019, and that originated with a Berkeley County lifer who did leave to go to the DC area for college and work for years. And while she was there, she was part of the DC chapter of the Junior League and got to know the organization in that way, and then ended up moving back here to this area. And when she did, you know, she wanted to, her along with a lot of colleagues and friends and family, you know, it's kind of like a lot of people around here will live here but work elsewhere, or live here but drive to go do, you know, fun things or be a part of clubs and things more towards the city where there's just more offered. But she really wanted there to be something for Berkeley County. And so she took it upon herself and got the idea to start a chapter of the Junior League here. And it just happened to coincide with the overall international organization as a whole, AJLI. Right around that time, they were offering to start, allow people to start their own nonprofit chapters and offer support for that. So we were actually the very first chapter in the world that ever went through that program.
Wow.
To start from scratch, basically. And so really, I think the idea started with wanting to have something here at home for people, for women who live here, to have something to do, but in a way that serves the community, and just build friendships along the way.
Thank you. The word friendships. Friendships, which are very hard for women to do after a certain age. It's almost like you leave college and then you hope and pray you can hold on to those college friends, or maybe you start your first adult job and you can just get one at work, and then you're kind of like an isolate all to your own. And maybe when you start a family, if you start a family, there'll be that one mom friend you meet at the daycare,
Right.
but a lot of times that doesn't happen. And so to create an organization that teaches and shows you, or just creates an environment that gets people of the same mindset together to give back to the community and helps you create friendships. Wow. While doing the good work in a safe place.
And I'd say that's what has happened
Yeah,
over the past 4 years, would you say?
I would say, yeah, it's really been about building those connections. It's about that connection. We have members that come to us for a lot of different reasons. Some of them just want that place to say they can come volunteer, which is great. Some want that professional development, that networking end of it, which we all offer. We have lawyers, nurses, teachers, stay-at-home moms, business people. You know, we have a wealth of knowledge within our group. And then some purely say, like, hey, I'm new to the area, or I've been here a long time and I'm looking for my tribe of women, my group of women, my group I can really lean on and be a part of in that community. So we get a little bit of all of that, and it's been great what we've been able to build up just in the short amount of time that we've been here. A place where all women feel welcome to serve alongside each other and network and grow. So
Wonderful.
yeah.
So my question is, the Junior League was founded in 1901 in New York City, right? A time of racial disparity and women's inequality. How does the JULEPs of the Eastern Panhandle plan to diversify the organization? Like, what is your plans or your stance on trying to diversify the org, and especially because it's very new in this area?
Yeah, so overall, the umbrella look of the AJLI organization, diversity is one of our main pillars. DEIB is a huge focus in all we do. We actually have had a chair and done different things within our own league to really try to incorporate that. Me personally as a president, I would love to see us diversify as much as possible, because I think that it's very important to have all different backgrounds and cultures at the table looking at different opportunities and having that conversation. You need to have that diverse conversation to really propel. You see what I like that? To propel forward. So, you know, we're always trying to, you know, support different organizations that represent different diversity in our area, and so really try to incorporate that in what we do, and a lot of it's about learning. We talked about that. All of our experiences, while vastly different, we can always learn from each other, and so I think a lot of that is important too, and us continuing to focus on the projects that we do and the work we're doing and continue to grow.
So that leads me into another question. What are some of the projects that you're doing?
That's a good one. So
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I'm about to take notes.
Okay.
I take a lot of notes, guys.
Yeah. So our biggest project, we do a lot of like volunteerism in the community. So we're with Boys and Girls Club and CASA and Children's Home Society, a lot of things like that we call like done in a day projects, things we can kind of just connect with and support. But one of our overall keystone projects our organization within the Panhandle is what we call Box of Basics. And it's something we are very excited about. It's I won't say new, it's upcoming. We're so close to launching. We're right there. But when the organization was found by some of our original members, they did a hard look in the area of what some of the needs were. And one of those was, it wasn't so much the hunger issue, because there's access to food and different resources that way in our community. It was the, hey, Tiffany, if I give you a rutabaga, are you going to know what to do with that? Or how do you cook a potato or an egg? Or like, what if I don't have the tools to do that? And then we really noticed that there was the community of what we'll call like foster age, you know, kids coming from a grandmother situation, grandfather situation, or others that really needed those life skills. So what we did with Box of Basics is not only the access to the food itself, but it's the access to the skills and the cookware and different things. So our Box of Basics is essentially like a tote. And within that, it's all the things, if you think back to like when you went to college or just moved out for the first time, the things that maybe, you know, mom, dad, grandma, auntie gave you, like that first pan or that set of knives or whatever. So we're trying to put all of that together in a box. And then from that, we're actually creating our own recipe book. And these are not your recipes like, you know, like bougie 17 ingredient. These are your Pinterest fail girls like myself.
Yes.
You know, here's how you fry an egg. Not maybe quite that simple, but things like that to really help, you know, those kids coming out of that foster situation with those life skills. So that is in process of being printed, and I know Kelly can elaborate that. She's very close with the group itself working on that project, but you know, we've gotten some grants, and so we're really excited about where that's going to go and the impact that that'll make on the community, and we're excited to be behind that. So Kelly, elaborate anything I missed there on that as well.
No, I think you covered it really well. We're getting ready to send the cookbook to the printer, and then we are also going to have our first event surrounding the Box of Basics, which is teaching some foster children involved in the CASA program. It's basically a cooking demonstration and a cooking class. And that's coming up in 2 weeks on March 16th.
Oh, wow.
So we're really, really excited to be doing that. So, because that's ultimately the direction we want to go in.
So if I understand correctly, for the JULEPs, your stance or your main initiative is volunteerism?
Yes.
Volunteerism and helping with food insecurity?
Right. So our overall mission as a whole is really about supporting women's leadership for community impact, volunteerism, and then also just that overall impact and development of our members. So through development, whether it be professional, personal, all that, and that community involvement, how we can make an impact to those around us. So
this is amazing. With it being National Women's History Month 2024, I believe this year's theme is Women Who Advocate for Equity, Diversity, and Inclusion. So I would argue the JULEP stand fall in line with that already, right? And I can honestly say, as the founder and chair for Black Owned in Berkeley County, our network falls in line with that same theme. You know, it is definitely a hot conversation now with the inclusion, the key word inclusion right there, you know what I mean? And so it's just amazing to sit down with women-led organizations, because a lot of people don't realize too, even for Black owned in Berkeley County, they hear the word Black owned and they don't realize that we are minority based as well, and women, veterans, different sexual orientations, I mean, different things fall under that minority umbrella, correct? So I just think this is a magnificent interview, and I'm glad that we were able to sit down with y'all today to help educate our community and just form that harmonious collaboration, an organic collaboration, because that's another key word that needs to be said with women working together. You know, we could say support and work together all we want, but we need the harmonious and accept the fact that we may have different views. You know, we really, but then at the end of the table, if we're in a boardroom, it's only two of us, we need to have some form of an alliance. You know what I mean? So I thank you, Rachel and Kelly, for sitting down with us today. How many upcoming events coming up?
So we have our annual Easter egging.
Okay.
And that's a fundraiser that, it's a fundraiser for us, but it also benefits the community, because during COVID, a lot of the kids in the community couldn't do public things and Easter egg hunts. And so we started putting on this event, and it's every Easter weekend, Friday and Saturday night of Easter weekend, where we get to play Easter Bunny.
Oh,
and that's the fun part for us.
I do like getting some bunny.
I bet you do.
Yes. Yes. and we get to play Easter Bunny, and we get to go, people sign up for it, sign up for a certain number of eggs, we get to go egg people's yards after dark.
Wow.
And so then the kids get to wake up in the morning and boom, there's eggs all over the yard. So that's coming up with Easter coming up soon, and that's going to be March 29th and 30th.
Oh, wow.
That's one of our favorite events of the year. It's one of our biggest fundraisers, and it's something I spent a little time in Georgia, and it was huge down there. And I came up here and we were looking for some ideas. I'm like, have y'all ever egged yards? They thought I was crazy. And I was like, I'm not talking tossing eggs at your house.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah, like, we're not egging your house, we're not egging your car. But we tried it the first year and it really blew up, and it's continued to grow. And there's, some other different groups, I think, also catching on to it. But we've had a great time with it. And not only is it fun for us to get out there, we got some stories for you. I mean, some of our girls try to play like secret, like the little kids see, they've dove in bushes and all kinds. We've done it all with these kids. But then the other good thing, to kind of circle it back to our foster care focus, is we do actually have donation ability where we'll have, I don't know how many we had within the last year or so, like hundreds of eggs will be donated.
Wow.
We've connected with different groups in the area to identify families that could use something like that. And so we'll take those donated eggs and do it for them too. So it's fun. So it's a little bit of good community work. It's a lot of fun and good fundraiser for us. So as a nonprofit, any fund development is always important in what you do. You can't continue to do good work if you don't have that funding by you. So,
Absolutely. You read about that.
I have a quick question.
Yeah.
So a lot of what you all do is deeply rooted in the community service aspect and all the things. How do you all go about remembering self at the same time while creating the DE and the I? There's the self and the belonging, right? As you support and care for the community. But we tend to, as women, forget self, right? So as it's Women's History Month, how do you not forget the woman you are in the midst of all the things you do for others? That's my last question before.
And another good topic that Brene Brown covers, like learning how to set those boundaries in a healthy way, I think is really important with that. Because when you commit and say yes, you can do it fully, and you know that you're doing it for good reasons. And then when and it's okay to allow yourself, I think, to say no. It's okay to have that self-compassion, and be able to confidently say no, because you don't have anything to prove, So that does a lot for me, along those lines.
That's a good question, and I'll be honest, I don't have a good answer because that's something I struggle with. It truly is. I'm an overcommitter. I'm hard at saying no, to her point with that. But sometimes you do need to take that step back, and you can't. What is the saying? Pour from. Or is it? Yeah, pour from an empty cup. There you go. So you have to continue to remember to take that step back and to fill your own cup, and that others are watching. I mean, me personally, my daughter. Like she sees when I'm burnt out and when I'm not available or at like my best self in what I'm doing. So it's hard to take that time for yourself, but it's really crucial in being able to show up for others and what you're doing too with that. So I think it's important.
But I'd say that your daughter, and I have a daughter, we all have daughters.
Yeah.
And so I would say that we're also being a good example for them. And sometimes that's motivation because they can join us and learn from us as we go and help others. And that keeps me going sometimes. Yeah.
And those days are hard. I mean, it's not always easy, but always worth it, as we said. I know we were talking right before this about how we're talking, when do we meal plan? When do we meal prep? You're working all day, you're doing all the extra things we all like to do, and volunteerism and all the things. It's like, when do you even do the basics? Like the cooking and the cleaning and just being a mom or being there and for yourself. And so it's, making sure you're carving out that time. It's important to do that.
Absolutely. Rachel, we have common ground. I don't have a great answer for that because she basically said everything I was thinking. I struggle with that right now. Definitely overcommit. Just trying to be a leader. It's hard for me to even say it, that I'm looked upon as a leader, like people are watching, are waiting for me to give an answer or reply or anything. So to answer, I think the best answer is just balance, right? Carving out that time and okay with saying no and setting those boundaries and standing on it, right? And giving yourself the permission to rest or give yourself the permission to be.